Solo Leveling is on its own level right now, literally, and yet, no anime has been subject to more criticism than its current season. Hell, the biggest streamers in the world are getting backlash for saying they liked it. Mid-leveling, aura farming, garbage story, nothing but fights. These are a few of the many arguments I've seen. Today I'm going to talk about how Solo Leveling is currently a victim of its own success. By showing one by one, a lot of these claims don't hold up under a little scrutiny. Look, this isn't pure glaze either, there are valid criticisms of the show. Genu going through all 100 levels of the Demon Gate in a few episodes, that should have been higher stakes than it felt. Did we need to add a demon simp? Did that add anything to the plot? As of right now, I'm going to lean no, though I could be wrong. Have we really fleshed out the cast to the degree that we care about a ton of characters? Again, I would say no. These are a few issues I've had, and there are plenty more. But ironically, these aren't the complaints I see anywhere I look. You're far more likely to hear the ones I mentioned at the beginning. But at their core, most of those can be narrowed down to, this is the most popular anime right now. Seriously, think about it. There is nothing abnormal or lacking about Solo Leveling's first 20 episodes that have earned the hate it's gotten, and it's only going to get worse as time goes on. Before I can counter these claims themselves, we need to establish the initial premise. Solo Leveling is a massive success. It's not only by far the biggest anime of the season, but already the biggest ever on Crunchyroll, passing Demon Slayer and One Piece to do so. We aren't talking about seasonal success, but all-time success. Episode 11 was the highest rated anime episode of the year on IMDb until it was passed by episode 12, which also happened to crash the Crunchyroll app. So we cannot deny its popularity, and with popularity comes hate. And yeah, I'm aware I'm not exactly breaking any particularly new news here. When things get popular, they get hated. But it particularly irks me when that leads to lazy criticisms becoming widely accepted. This isn't the first time I've made a video like this either. I am all for open and honest critique, that's extremely important, but glorifying lazy takes doesn't help anyone. So let's examine some of these. Critics say Solo Leveling leans too heavy on great animation and on the fights. But is that all that it excels at? Well, no. Those things are great, but so are the cinematography and the score. It goes beyond clean animation. How things are shot and the way the music enhances everything are equally important and criminally underrated elements of the series. Jeju was awesome for far more than just the animation. The build of seeing the superiority of the Japanese hunters, but also the comfort of being able to rely on them, or so we thought. The fact that this is the 4th raid and we've spent the entirety of the show working towards it. The sound strategy going in and then the despair when things start turning around. We learn Japan is actually traitorous. The Black Ant is insane, and the exchange moment was, yeah, probably the coolest thing I've seen all year long. Let's zero in on the Beru fight. Beyond the animation, I really like the storytelling of it. The Black Ant is looking to take out Earth's king. To judge Genu's worthiness, he lays into him. And they have this back and forth punching barrage, which is essentially a test. It's about proving their strength to each other as opposed to winning. As that fight continues, the Black Ant is overwhelmed and placed in a position it's never been in before. It doesn't know the meaning of perseverance because it's never struggled. Out of desperation, it uses poison to gain an edge, except that doesn't work, and this animal's primal fear continues to build, attempting multiple times to flee before eventually getting culled. As you see in pro wrestling, stories are told within fights. And even though I've greatly simplified it, this one was great. At the end of the day, this is the entertainment industry, and that's something Solo Leveling excels at. Let's talk about mid-leveling. As far as power fantasy anime go, what even comes close to this? This is quite easily the standard bearer of the genre, so right away, that seems like a weak argument. You can't be mid if you're the best at something. Okay, then it's only aura farming. So you're admitting it has aura, which is inarguably a good thing. Most anime would kill to have Solo Leveling's aura. Building up to big moments is an important aspect of storytelling, and even critics admit Solo does that well. Even if there are moments that are intentionally made cooler than needed, I'll live with it, because most of the time those moments are indeed awesome. But is that all it does? Of course not. When people say it's nothing more than Flash, I can't help but wonder what show they're watching. So let's roll this take into another. The story sucks. To counter that, let's break things down to their core. Typically, Solo Leveling follows a basic structure. We'll have a few episode mini arc where the goal will be to defeat an opponent or acquire something. Throughout that mini arc, we have little setups or teases for the next arc, one easy example being Genu getting the skill exchange for defeating Baran. Beneath that, we have longer term setups, the build to Jeju, questions or teases about the system and its goals, then also the stuff with Genu's dad. These are generally subtle moments that add up over time. This has been going on from the start, episode 1 all the way through the end of season 2. Is that some mind-blowing type of structure to format a story? Of course not, but it's effective. There is nothing wrong with basic, efficient storytelling. And as I said, every arc is going 3 layers deep with build between present, near future, and distant future. It's been 2 seasons and we still know literally nothing about the system or the gates. We were barely introduced to Genu's father, and we know that payoff will be coming because that's how every tease in this show has gone. Since the beginning, there has been a level of intrigue lingering under the surface, which is something most anime straight up don't have. Do you really think they teased the American Hunter a few episodes ago for no reason? Do you think the cams coming back on during the fight won't matter going forward? These are textbook teases that I'm certain will pay off down the line. Think of all the callbacks, big and small, we had with Jeju. Even Juhi and Mr. Song were around to watch. Plus, it's really excelled in its use of cliffhangers. Okay, but efficient doesn't automatically mean good. So let's talk about actual writing quality. If the story sucks, then it shouldn't be able to get you emotionally invested. Except it does. Take Byung-goo's story, for example. It was quick, but you cared. We were teased his story all the way back in episode 1. We explored his relationship with Beck. We learned his motivations, his fears, and why he decided to step away from being a hunter. When he's a last-second addition to the Jeju raid, you're excited to see him. He makes a few awesome saves showing how valuable he is, and then inevitably he has an absolutely brutal death, confirming his initial fears were legitimate and making you think to yourself, oh, the rest of these guys, they're screwed. He's basically highlighted for 2.5 episodes, yet we saw him lose his life deciding to do the right thing, and you feel for him. And that's not even the best example. One of my favorite moments of the year was Genu's mom waking up. I'll get to the emotions in a moment, but when people talk about the strengths of Solo Leveling, again, cinematography does not get brought up nearly enough. The light slowly making its way up her body to illuminate her, the cut to Gina and the moon, the cut back to her glowing, awake and smiling, that was beautiful. And I've heard rumblings that Genu crying was lame. If you believe that, you're dead inside. Like, are we seriously bitching about him crying that his mom, who has been in a coma for 4 years, something he blames himself for, wakes up? Even though everything he's done from before the show even begins was for her sake. Starting as an E-rank, constantly getting injured on the job, nearly dying, to pushing himself after his reawakening, that was all for her. We've seen how his lack of strength has impacted him in all facets of his life, so seeing him grow stronger physically, emotionally, and mentally is fitting thematically, too. As far as how emotions were handled, it was everything I could have wanted and proved the story can nail drama when it wants to. Action, animation, music, cinematography, efficient storytelling, emotional moments, intrigue. Is that not enough? What else does it need? At what point do we stop calling it one-dimensional or boring and just admit it's good? I'm already there, as you can probably tell by this being my second Solo Leveling video of the season. If you are too, go check that one out. With that, I'm out.